So what do you think of when you hear this? Most people say that that's the Zelda theme. That's the Mario theme. Oh, that's the Pokemon theme, right? And you're not wrong, but you're not entirely right either. So let's flip the question for a second. What if I asked the same thing, but instead played this? Or this? And what about this? Now, I know what you're thinking, but that's the anime theme. You can't compare that to the video game music. And you're right. But here's the thing. No matter which one I play, you probably still think that's Mario, or that's Zelda, or that's Pokemon. But if I had to take a guess, you probably mentally file them as that's the Mario Overworld theme 2, or that's the theme from Super Mario 2, or that's the Ocarina of Time's title theme, or that's just the anime. And some people would even argue that this is the Pokemon theme. But the original Super Mario theme, that was just the overworld theme from the first game. It wasn't called the main theme until much later. It kept showing up, not because it had to, but because it became so iconic and sought after that they kept reusing the melody. Same thing with Pokemon. I mean, that title screen melody, you'll hear it again in Pokemon Stadium. Let's Go Pikachu, or Let's Go Eevee. Scarlet and Violet, it's like the Pokemon DNA. Even when the visuals change, the melody still grounds it. But let's talk about Zelda. This one is fascinating. That iconic theme, believe it or not, it was actually a last-minute replacement. So Koji Kondo originally wanted to use a rendition of Ravel's Bolero. And the Zelda main theme was almost completely different. But the problem was, apparently the rights to the song goes to public domain after 50 years. Like when somebody creates a song, goes into copyright, and then after 50 years, it ends up being public domain for people to use. But it turns out that Ravel died 49 years before that. So Nintendo would have had to wait an entire year to use it. So Koji cooked up a song in 12 hours, which was amazing. And that's how the Zelda theme was born. But this wasn't the first time that something like this has happened.
I was doing sound design on Halo, early Halo stuff. I found out Joe Staten called me, the writer at Bungie, and said, gonna be on stage next week for Macworld 1999. It was like everybody scrambling to put together a demo that would work on the Mac. You know, I gotta do a good hooky melody. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. And so it was like, yesterday, da 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 da.
That's right, the same sort of concept also happened with Halo's theme. Now, they didn't fall into that category where the song was copywritten and 49 years ago and all that stuff, but the song was written on a whim. Now, just to be clear, a lot of people often do ask me to play specific themes in Zelda, especially people that are more familiar with the games or have played them a lot, and they understand that, sure, like there is one theme that everybody thinks of, but there's a ton of other tracks from the OST that pulls on the heartstrings that people really want to hear. So I'm not really talking about these diehard fans or even just like moderate fans in general, because they will oftentimes specify which soundtrack in the game they want to hear. I'm really just kind of referring to the general public. So my girlfriend asked me to play the Mario theme because she knows I play all these theme songs and stuff, and I immediately knew what she was talking about. It's like, why do we know that? Why do we understand that that's what she wants to hear? There's so many different themes. Like, I don't expect her to say, play the original Super Mario Overworld theme from the first game. Like, that would just be kind of crazy. And there's just as many instances of games creating new themes as there is games referencing the main theme or the old theme. So you have this sort of ping pong that goes back and forth with these gaming companies where they're creating new soundtracks for the new games, but at the same time, they're also referencing the old ones. So it's this weird dynamic. It's like you're coming up with new themes, new title themes for new games, but also when you reference the old one, everybody goes, there it is. And a perfect example of this is Zelda Ocarina of Time. It's just such an interesting concept to talk about. Like, I would love to hear what you guys think about this so far, because I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, there is a main theme that I think about whenever someone says Zelda or Mario or this and that's like the original theme, but there's so many other themes afterwards, especially in the newer games. It's like what we're really referring to oftentimes is the title screen music that kind of just like gets you involved in the games, the first thing you hear in the game, but so many generations after that have changed their title screen. And for instance, in like Super Mario, people are referencing the main overworld theme where the song plays anytime you're above ground. So anyway, getting back to the point with Zelda. Legend of Zelda has so many different themes that are so amazing, but for some reason, when people ask me to play the Zelda theme on my live streams or whatever it is, I play this. And then they go, thanks. But then people will specify which version of the themes they want to hear if they want anything else. Like if somebody wants Ocarina of Time, they will ask me, can you play Ocarina of Time? Or can you play the title screen? Or can you play Gerudo Valley? So yeah, you know. Why is it that I automatically assume that these are the themes? And why is it universally thought that these are the main themes? Is it even the main theme? Or is it just the first theme? So let's actually describe what a main theme is. Is it the most recognizable melody? Is it the one that you hear first? Is it the one that shows up in every game? In order to answer these questions, let's talk about something called a leitmotif. That's a fancy musical term for a repeating theme associated with a person, place, or an idea. Like think Darth Vader's Imperial March. Or think Hedwig's theme from Harry Potter. In games, think Zelda's Lullaby, think Final Fantasy's Prelude. These aren't just sounds, they're identities of a game, appearing at times where the character has an important story moment to make you feel a sense of reconnection with the character or the plot. So based on kind of the context of what we're talking about, Zelda's Lullaby might actually be the true theme of the franchise. It appears in nearly every Zelda game since A Link to the Past. It represents Zelda herself. It plays in emotional moments, right? When you're like meeting royalty or solving puzzles or spiritual cutscenes. That's always, or I should say usually, the song that plays. It carries the emotional heart of the series. And according to this Reddit post, Zelda's Lullaby used to actually be referred to as Zelda's theme until Ocarina of Time gave it a name, which was Zelda's Lullaby. But I understand why people would say that the overworld theme is the main theme. It appears many times throughout the games, often when you're exploring the overworld or beginning your journey, which might lead us closer to the answer of what even is a main theme. So, breaking away from that, let's jump into another series, Final Fantasy. What's the first thing you think of? Is it the battle music? Is it the victory fanfare? What about the prelude? The prelude plays before the game starts and at the very beginning of every game. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it's the soul of the franchise. Now, if you were to search for the Final Fantasy main theme on YouTube, you'd get this. Now, I'm not really super well versed in the Final Fantasy series as I haven't played the games too much, but I just wanted to offer some food for thought. This person on Reddit says the main Final Fantasy theme does not show up in every game. For example, Final Fantasy X does not include it. The prelude, however, does show up in most of the games either as the original or a new variation, or in the background somewhere. And some of these games even have their own main theme, like Final Fantasy XVII. Now, I didn't really verify this, and I know that Reddit sometimes is not exactly the most accurate source of information, but honestly, like, I believe some of these guys, they probably know more than me. So does Final Fantasy actually have two main themes? Both of them show up in nearly every game, but if you were to search on YouTube Final Fantasy main theme, you'll get the one that I just showed you. And as you dive deeper into this, you'll even see fans speaking their mind on this topic, which usually resorts to them having to classify each theme by the game and the location in which they showed up in. All of this despite the fact that the name of the song is literally Final Fantasy. Well, let's branch into another game. Let's talk about the Halo series. That choir. It just hits every single time. This choir theme, or this Gregorian chant sort of style, was heavily displayed in Halos 1, 2, and 3. But then the music started to break away from that main melody in Halo Wars, which was after Halo 3. They continued to change the melody, and to my knowledge, it hasn't returned since. Unless it's been referenced in other points in the storyline, which I'm sure it probably has. I haven't played and studied every single game all the way through. I'm sure it's been referenced, but the point is it wasn't the opening theme anymore. So the games for the most part still followed this Gregorian chant style theme with orchestration behind it, keeping the soul alive but moving away from the main melody that we're all familiar with, which could be an indication why it still sounds familiar even though the melody changed. It's funny because as you dive deeper into this, you start to see fans challenging the idea that there is one main theme, because oftentimes that's not the case. And I just want to add one other point as to why this might be. Companies like Nintendo have found a soundtrack in each game that sparked people's fond memories of playing these games, which over time was probably used for multiple different marketing purposes, for instance like commercials or movies. And over time these companies decided this is the main theme. So here's the real question. When Koji Kondo, Junichi Masuda, or Uematsu wrote these themes, did they know that they were creating something so iconic? Or did the players make it iconic? Did Nintendo see how well the Mario theme performed and say, let's use this in every game from now on? Was it genius marketing, or was it a perfect melody, or both? So here's kind of where I'm standing on all of this. A main theme doesn't have to be the first thing that you hear. It doesn't even have to be in every game, but it does have to have meaning, and it has to be the musical DNA. So that melody that you remember, the one that kind of hits you in the chest, the one that brings you back when you first played, and sometimes it's not even the most famous song. It's just the right one. So I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. This is just a really interesting topic for me. I understand that obviously some of the companies have classified main themes, especially if you Google them, the main theme, the companies will say that these are the main themes, but where they came from and their use in the game just sparks a lot of conversation around this. So what is your favorite main theme, or what is your favorite theme from any video game in general? I'd love to hear it in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. I'll see you guys in the next one.